Hello students, today I am going to discuss about our first unit of the supplementary reader, that is A Triumph of Surgery. But before I go on to the unit, why do we need the supplementary reader? As the name suggests, a supplementary reader aims at developing our reading skills. We can develop the habit of reading for information, for pleasure, and for drawing inferences from what we read and relate it to our previous knowledge. We need to learn to read critically and to develop the confidence to ask and answer questions. The various chapters in this book are based on personal relationships, neighborhood, as well as the community around us. Okay, now let's move on to our unit, A Triumph of Surgery by James Herriot. Triumph. What do we mean by triumph? Triumph means a victory. So, this unit is about a victory of surgery. Now, when we say a victory of surgery, it is not only victory of this particular surgery. It involves a number of characters due to which the victory is achieved. Our aim in life is always to be victorious or to be successful in whatever we do. This is another such unit which is aimed at achieving victory. The characters of the unit are the author, James Herriot, Tricky, and his owner, Mrs. Pumphrey. Okay, now this story has been written by James Herriot. The subject of the story is a pet dog which is spoilt by its owner. The owner indulges her dog so much with food and other comforts that the dog has become overweight and cannot even walk properly. Finally, the dog has been taken to a veterinary doctor who treats the dog without using a single medicine. This dog is left with all other dogs so that it can play and get the much needed physical exercise. After a period of enough physical activities, the dog loses much of its fat and becomes hale and hearty. It is a simple story with a simple subject, but if we try to read between the lines, the story has much more significance for our life as well. We all see kids who are overweight and spoilt because their parents just try to meet every demand of theirs. The kid develops into a couch potato which is not good for his or her life. Some main points of the unit are: Tricky was a small dog and was excessively loved by his mistress, Mrs. Pumphrey. He was greedy and loved food but had no exercise. As a result, he became fat, and Mrs. Pumphrey believed that he became lazy because he suffered from malnutrition. Mrs. Pumphrey was a wealthy woman. She loved her dog too much. She gave him some little extras between meals to build him up, like malt, cod liver oil, and a bowl of Horlicks at night. She gave him lot to eat, but no exercise. Once he became ill, and she was worried and made a frantic call to Herriot, who was a vet. James already had given suggestions regarding Tricky's balanced diet, but she never followed it. He was a vet. He was shocked to see Tricky hugely fat, like a bloated sausage with a leg at each corner. He advised her to cut down on the sweet things. He expected a call to come within a few days, and it happened. He was called by Mrs. Pumphrey as Tricky refused to eat. He told her that Tricky needed immediate hospitalization for keeping under observation at his surgery for a fortnight. There, he gave him no food, no medicine, but plenty of water. Gradually, he mixed with other dogs and started playing with them. He had a lot of exercise and fun at the surgery. He was completely recovered and transformed into a hard, muscled dog. James Herriot treated the dog without medicine or surgery. She was happy and filled with gratitude. She thanked Herriot and said that this is a triumph of surgery. So this was the summary. These were the key points of the unit. And now let's go on to the summary about the characters to learn more about the characters. Mrs. Pumphrey was a rich and emotional lady who had a cute pet called Tricky. She loved him so much that she overfed him. Tricky had put on a lot of weight, which made him lethargic. When Dr. Herriot saw the fat dog with a bloated sausage, he was shocked. He made a plan and told Mrs. Pumphrey that Tricky needed treatment for an ailment which was possible only in hospital. The doctor knew that Mrs. Pumphrey would not be able to keep the dog on a proper diet. When the greedy dog went to the hospital, he had to remain hungry if he was slow to approach for food. He was given food at fixed intervals. Soon, he shed off a lot of his body weight and became quite active. When Tricky was at home, he was pampered by Mrs. Pumphrey. He had a luxurious life when he was served with cream, cake, chocolate and Horlicks. But when he came to the doctor, he became all right. When Mrs. Pumphrey saw her active dog, she thanked the doctor and felt that it was a triumph of surgery. She was a wealthy woman. She loved her dog too much. She gave him little extras between meals. Now we move on to James Herriot, who is a vet. He was a vet. He was shocked to see the hugely fat dog like a bloated sausage with a leg at each corner. He advised her to cut down the sweet things. He told her that Tricky needed immediate hospitalization for keeping him under observation at his surgery for a fortnight. There, he gave him no food, no medicine, but plenty of water and plenty of exercise. He was completely recovered and transformed into a hard, muscled dog. James Herriot treated the dog without medicine or surgery. Mrs. Pumphrey was very happy and filled with gratitude. She thanked Herriot and said that it was a triumph of surgery. Now Tricky. Tricky was a small dog and was very much loved by his mistress, Mrs. Pumphrey. He was greedy. He loved food, but no exercise. As a result, he became fat, and Mrs. Pumphrey believed that he had become lazy because he had suffered from malnutrition. Right, so these were the important characters as well as the important points about the unit. Now students, I would request all of you to read the unit and answer the read and find out questions to understand, to get a better understanding of the whole unit. This will be followed by an assignment which will be sent to you on the next day. On the next day you receive this PPT. Also, there will be a live session, Zoom session, where we can discuss your various doubts based on this unit. Thank you.